Welcome back to another Sunday prep day. If you're new here, every Sunday I prep for the week. So that means cutting all my vegetables, and today I'm also going to make a salsa verde. So I'm just going to start by cutting up some garlic that I'll use for a couple of things. And let's go over the meal plan. Oh, and if you do want to follow along, every time I post a Sunday prep day video, I also post on Instagram with my complete meal plan written out and all the ingredients that I'll be using this week. Not just what you see here, but also things like the meat, the sauces, etc. So you can check that out. You'll find the link to my Instagram below. And yeah, for lunch today, I'm gonna have some sandwiches like I usually do on Sunday because I'm diabetic, had to cut carbs. I don't usually have carbs for lunch except on the weekends when I have my cheat days. So I just have some chicken breast and some whole wheat rolls. And I'll chop up some cucumber in slices. And I'll have some lettuce with that as well. So I'm just almost done dicing this garlic. Then for dinner tonight, I'm gonna do some green beans wrapped in prosciutto. And I'll have that with some chicken that I might also wrap in prosciutto if I have some left. And I'll have some potatoes with that. I was gonna do some potato wedges, but the potatoes that I had at the market were a bit smaller, so I think I'm just gonna do what do you call it? Like I'll cut them into quarters or into slices. I don't know yet. We'll decide when it gets to chopping time. So that is the garlic done. And I'm also gonna leave 3 cloves whole because I'll just roast those later. And I want them whole for that. Then I have some spring onions. I'm using these instead of shallots because I have these red spring onions. So the bottom I'm going to just cut in half and I'll grill those later. Actually, if I have those 3 cloves with that, and I'll have all the things I need to grill right there. So again, just cut it off there. So I wrote down a couple of shallots, but I'll just use the spring onions instead, and they'll be slightly bigger. So, and these tops, I'll just slice them up at an angle, and I'll use as a garnish for a couple of things. So I'll just work my way through all of that while I continue going over my meal plan. So let's try and make it easy on myself. I could grab a couple of these at the same time. Slice up the top. But, let's see, for Monday, I do meatless Mondays. For lunch, I'm going to have a frittata. So that's eggs with a bunch of different vegetables. I'll use some of the spring onions for that as well as the garlic and onions, peppers, chilies, all that good stuff. I'm just cutting off the tip of these spring onions. So again, I'll just grab a couple, slice them nice and fine. For dinner tomorrow, Meatless Monday, I'm gonna make it very easy on myself. I just have a can of lentil curry. So I'll just warm that up with some rice. Then for Tuesday, I have a little bit of broccolini left. So I'll have that with some sausage And then for dinner, I do Taco Tuesday. So I'll have chicken tacos with that salsa verde that I'll make in a bit. I'll chop all my vegetables first, and then I'll make the salsa. Just so one, I have it ready to go, and two, it's also a lot easier for you to follow along if I don't multitask too much. Sometimes I do multitask a little bit, but I do try and limit that a little bit just for filming purposes and editing purposes. Just don't want to go back and forth constantly. And then we're on Wednesday. For lunch, I'm going to do some stuffed peppers. I have some ground chicken, not chicken breast. And I'll do a whole bell pepper. I'll just cut that in half, roast it, and I'll stuff that with the chicken and a bunch of vegetables. And maybe some cheese as well. I haven't decided yet. So that's the spring onions done. Those can just go in my container. The spring onions I'll mostly just use as a garnish for things. Then we have some onions. I have 3 red onions. One I'll dice and 2 I'll slice up. Let's see, so for dinner on Wednesday, I'm gonna do some risotto. That's one other thing I need some diced onion for. And the risotto I'll have with some peas, just some frozen peas, and some sausages. Oh, now I look at my menu properly. The broccolini on Tuesday I was going to do with chicken, but that's where prepping the ingredients comes in, not just whole meal. Because I can change things around. If I prefer sausage with something over chicken that day, I can change that out. Doesn't really matter that much as long as I use the same the things that I planned within the week. Doesn't really matter what combination I use for which meal. But yeah, so risotto with sausages, and then for Thursday for lunch, I'm gonna have some sausages or chicken then, with some green beans because I'll have some of those left over. And for dinner on Thursday, I'm going to do some pasta with bacon and just lots of vegetables. So carrot, pepper, chilies, onion, garlic, all that good stuff. And I'll add some chicken stock for flavor as well. So, and one of the things I need for that is this onion, so that I'll just slice. That doesn't need to be super fine. I just want it fine for the risotto. Then we're on Friday, Fish Friday. For lunch, I'm gonna do some tuna salad on some lower carb crisp bread, so it's high fiber, lower carb. Well, net carb anyway. So the tuna salad I'll make with some canned tuna with some mayo, probably some curry powder for flavoring, some diced red onion, and some celery. And then for dinner, I'm gonna do some fish tacos. So that's just I'll bread some frozen fish that I have. It's just the regular white fish. I think I have tilapia. Could be bassa. I don't know for sure, but just generic white fish. I'll bread that in some panko breadcrumbs, and I'll have that with some leftover veggies like the onion and the peppers, chilies, some lettuce, and that green salsa. So that is onions done. Next up, let's do some cucumber. That's just for a sandwich. I like having some extra green on my sandwich. So just slice that up. There we go. Then I want to grill some chilies to go with my salsa, so I'll set those aside. And then I have a few more chilies. I have these cayenne, red and green, just for color's sake. I don't prefer one over the other really, but I'll just slice those up, and those are going to go in my tacos, my salsa, not my salsa, I have the other ones for that, my pasta, my tacos, etc. So I'll just slice those up. I'll leave the seeds in that one because they don't bother me. I always say this, people are probably tired of that. But yeah, cayenne, fine with the seeds. Jalapenos, I will take the seeds out just because there's a lot more of them, or especially the pith. I don't want all that pith. So I'll just cut them in half, take the seeds and the pith out, and I'll just slice that up. Next up, I have a bell pepper. I'm just gonna cut that in half, take the seeds out, and that will be for my stuffed peppers. And then I have these peppers. These are sweet peppers. I think they're called Anaheim. We just call them pun paprika, which means pointy pepper. And I'm just going to dice these up first, cut them in half, take the seeds out. And I'm just going to dice these up by cutting them lengthwise and then across. And these are going to go in my tacos, in my pasta, in my frittata, etc., etc. Just like the onions, the garlic, the chilies, they go in a bunch of things. So yeah, that's one diced up, or half, and I'll just dice up the rest as well. I only need one shape this week. Next up, potatoes. Now I have to decide on the shape. I think I'm just gonna do thick slices. I'm leaving the skin on. I did wash these. And I'll just brown these in some butter, copious amounts of butter. So if you look at my meal plan and ingredients list, I think I put 1 or 2 potatoes down, but these are a bit smaller than I planned. That's why I'm doing a different shape. So I'll just do 3. This bigger one I'll cut in half and then slice. That is potatoes done. Next up, let's do some carrot. So that one's stuck. I have a big carrot here, so I'm just gonna take the tip off. I have my julienne slicer. It's faster than I can do by hand. It's more even than I can do by hand. You can shred it as well. But I'll just shred that, and that's for my frittata. Oh yeah, my stuffed peppers as well. Okay, that's one large carrot done. And then here I have about half of a carrot. And I'll cut that into little half coins. And that's going to go in my pasta. I just want something a little more substantial so it doesn't completely disappear when I cook it for a bit. Then some celery. I need that for my risotto, and I also need that for my tuna salad. So I'm just gonna cut it lengthwise and then across to dice that. Slice it a little bit further and dice it up, and I'll just do that for 2 ribs. And then I have some green beans, and I'm just gonna top and tail them, and I'll do this whole bunch, which is enough for 2 generous portions. That is green beans done. So, and then the last thing is I need some cilantro for my tomatillo salsa and I'll also use some for just some garnish, really, with like my frittata and things like that. You can save the stems for things like curry paste, and even though it's going to go in the food processor, or at least some of it, I'm still just going to rough chop it, just so it doesn't like stick at the top or at the bottom. Just helps the food processor out a little bit. And I have my knife out anyway. Okay, that's all the chopping done. I'm just gonna clean up a bit and then we'll start making the salsa. So for my salsa, I have my griddle pan on. That's nicely preheated, so I'm gonna throw on some of my chilies. I'll put my spring onions on and my whole cloves of garlic. And I'll just let that have a char. And in the meantime, let's get this ready. I have my mini food processor. I have some canned tomatillas, so they're already cooked. I don't need to cook them. And those can just go in. I'll put in some of my cilantro, and I'll juice 1 lime. And let's give everything a flip so it cooks on all sides. And I'm just gonna let everything go until it has a nice char on and it's cooked through, or almost all the way through. And the garlic and the onion can go straight in. And these chilies, I will quickly take the top off and I'll cut out some of that seed. I don't mind the spice too much, I just don't want all that bitter pith in there. So those can go in, and then before I forget, add some salt. And then I'm just gonna blend this up real quick. Just transfer that to a container that fits a little bit easier in my fridge, but that's ready to go for my tacos on Tuesday and Friday. And yeah, that's all the prep work done for this week. Took me about 30 minutes total. And now I can have lunch or dinner on the table in minutes while still being flexible enough that I can change things around if I want to. So if that all sounds good to you, I do videos like this every single Sunday. And if you'd like to see what I ultimately do with the things that I prepped, you can check out my Instagram where I post every single meal. My Instagram is linked below. Or you can check out the video that I post about once a month on here where I show you everything I eat in a day for a whole week. And usually I show how I make everything as well. And I just posted one this past Friday. So if that all sounds good to you, leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe, and thanks for watching. Until next time, bye for now.